This kind of broke over the weekend. Interesting, Colin. The Eagles, they got a great defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. However, reports indicate he is mulling retirement and has been since the end of the season. And Philly doesn't have a final decision from him. That's not great news. Obviously, Fangio, a masterful defensive coordinator. Colin, they were thinking about a Jonathan Gannon move. Remember, he was with the Cardinals?
Yeah.
He just landed with the Packers as their defensive coordinator. The Eagles plan on checking in with Jim Schwartz. Colin, a lot of coaching changes, so that'll be if Fangio leaves. That's a new OC and DC.
I would say Jim Schwartz would be the leading candidate.
Yeah, he's very good. This would be an attractive job. They have an elite secondary. Mitchell and DeJean are all pros. The defensive line, Jordan Davis, the other defensive tackle whose name escapes me. The linebackers are good. This is a loaded unit. I don't know why people wouldn't be clamoring to get this job if Fangio says, I'm out.
Coordinator jobs in Philadelphia.
You think it has to do with Sirianni? Like, hey, what's my job security? If Sirianni gets tossed, I'm out too.
That's right.
No, everyone, what are you discussing at this moment? Nobody disputes that regarding defense presently. And to declare that individuals aren't enthusiastically pursuing that position. The position is not accessible at this moment. Therefore, what are you discussing? Like, what are you discussing at this moment? The position is not accessible at this moment. Oh my goodness. How about Fangio literally couldn't finalize an agreement with the Philadelphia Eagles rapidly enough? All right, so like you obtain total command of that defense and you acquire elite monsters on that aspect of the ball. Also, I'm fairly confident it's Fangio. I've been stating Fangio perpetually. If it's Fio, man, I don't even comprehend what to convey to you. I'm so merely going to refer to him as Fangio. Like, whether it's FGIO or whatever, like it's Fangio to me, it is Vic Fangio. But this is the complicated matter because you have Gannon or Schwartz, who obviously the Eagles secured the Super Bowl with in 2017. Fangio was perpetually a temporary arrangement. There was he was perpetually going to be like, I'm merely accomplishing this for a few additional years, then I'm retiring. And then particularly, he obtained the Super Bowl championship in year one. And it was perpetually going to be like, hey, I literally attained each and everything you can attain in the NFL. I literally attained everything. I've secured all my finances. I'm an elderly man. I accomplished it all. What else remains? If you obtain like a Gannon, whom I am aware Eagles supporters possess somewhat mixed emotions about, he is still obviously progressing. You know, at a bare minimum, a genuinely proficient defensive intellect. Whether you desire to declare he's exceptional, elite is irrelevant. He comprehends his actions. He comprehends how to operate a defense. All that beneficial material. He's probably not going to be at the summit of the catalog of head coaching opportunities for a few years. I believe it's distinct with defensive coaches and offensive coaches. I believe a head coach can be dismissed on offense on the offensive aspect of the ball, become a coordinator, and honestly, within a year or two, if Mike McDaniel merely got terminated as a head coach, obviously, and now he's with the Chargers. If Herbert performs unbelievably and exceptionally, and they secure a couple postseason contests, you would be hard-pressed for teams that if they're terminating their coaches to not desire to undertake another, attempt with Mike McDaniel. It's merely very straightforward. Defense, less so. Brian Flores proceeds to the Vikings, and I'm attempting to conceive of another defensive illustration. But hey, even Robert Saleh proceeded to the 49ers and was recruited, pretty much instantly. Therefore, it's not perpetually, one-to-one, but I merely believe that with quarterbacks being obviously so significant and numerous teams frequently requiring to, select a rookie quarterback, you're more like, okay, we'll accept this intellect. It merely appears like a Gannon could potentially be a coach, a coordinator for a somewhat lengthier duration of time. Less significant than securing, the offensive aspect of the ball with Jalen and company, but still something noteworthy. But I do examine this core from the Philadelphia Eagles in terms of whom they possess. I placed them on a 3-year time frame last season. Like this previous season where I stated they're on a 3-year chronology, I kept stating regarding the Eagles. It's never about them proceeding back-to-back or duplicating. It's that from this juncture forward, so they secured their Super Bowl. Now I'm examining it on another 3-year chronology, where it's within these subsequent 3 years, the objective is to secure at minimum, another Super Bowl. And if you accomplish that, then that is triumph, correct? That is a victory. Securing 2 Super Bowls is a genuine, realistic objective. If you're demanding anything beyond that, I perpetually declare like you're being greedy. 3 is unbelievable and phenomenal, and 4 is, historic. But even 3, you're merely like, listen, the Chiefs secured 3 Super Bowls with Mahomes thus far. And everyone was like, this is absolutely amazing. This is historic. This is a, incredible dynasty. Dynasty. To merely place that as the foundation for the Philadelphia Eagles or any team for that matter is, merely insane to me. And so that's why I examined it through this subsequent time frame of like you have Jalen, Saquon, Devonta, AJ, etc., all in their prime, all, as healthy as they can be ideally. That's what you're examining. And so you consumed that 1 year, and now you're on the subsequent 2 years. Now you're examining this and merely like, okay, what do you possess? Because beyond that, you are going to be like, well, Devonta is somewhat older. Well, AJ Saquon doesn't possess the identical vitality that he possesses. Well, Jalen Hurts, he's absorbed numerous impacts over these years. Like, it merely alters. Everything alters at that juncture. And so, this is these subsequent 2 years. And so, long term, in terms of, particularly from a defensive perspective, might not matter as much. But it does feel like then this would probably be Fangio's final year. And then it's like, okay, if he's contemplating retirement this year, the sole rationale why he's not going to not retire this year is because he perceives that he can still inflict some damage. They can secure a Super Bowl, does desire the finances. You merely somewhat become persuaded for numerous diverse reasons why. But yeah, the beneficial information regarding Fangio is even though he's, contemplating retirement and all that, I don't believe he's one of those individuals that's merely going to somewhat arrive there and merely collect a paycheck and somewhat merely, not concern all too much. Like, I believe if anything, a fan is somewhat like, listen, man, I can merely proceed all in. I accomplish things entirely. So I can't merely you can't declare, okay, why don't you merely undertake this 1 year, but perhaps merely not be as intense as years previous, or perhaps delegate some of the responsibilities to some of your assistants. And he's merely like, man, I proceed all in. I accomplish everything 1000%. And I am aging, and I do eventually merely have to declare, okay, I'm finished. I must quit cold turkey, essentially. There exists no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Therefore, I believe that is the advantage of him arriving, where if he does remain with the Philadelphia Eagles, you can be assured that he is still proceeding all in and accomplishing everything he necessitates to accomplish. But listen, you survey the league and you observe what some of these defenses have accomplished, the Seahawks and whatnot, to the 49ers. Like, you do recognize there is perpetually opportunity for enhancement. Even though Fangio is a phenomenal coach, and this defense has been exceptional, like, you do acknowledge that there's still opportunity for enhancement and methods to develop and evolve and be even superior, just like there was obviously as clearly as day on the offensive aspect of the ball. So it's merely, I believe the Eagles are in an intriguing predicament, but to keep attempting to make all the paths lead to Nick Sirianni, and it's a challenging market in Philly with the coordinators, like why do we this is becoming as foolish as individuals constantly mentioning, snowballs at Santa Claus. This is the play, this is the fan base that hurls snowballs at Santa Claus. It's like, oh, okay. So I suppose we're merely going to hear that narrative 5 times a year, each and every year for the remainder of our lives. Like, comprehended. Okay. That is logical. I imply, did they produce a 30 for 30 regarding it or something? It wasn't even Santa Claus. It was merely some arbitrary individual wearing Santa Claus attire. But, yeah, it's challenging in Philly. Coordinators still desire to be present. Coaches still desire to be present. Players still desire to be present. Imagine that. Imagine that. I apologize. That is contradictory to the narrative that individuals constantly desire to fabricate. But how about this? And I wish I articulated this in my earlier video with the new offensive coordinator whom they merely recruited. It is extensively documented that he is an absolute ascending star in the NFL hierarchy, that he is the the subsequent group of these youthful coaches who are established to be exceptional in the NFL. That is merely what that is. Merely that is, it's not open for discussion. That is what is observed. That is what is acknowledged as an accurate statement. Whether that materializes to be the reality, nobody knows. Correct? Nobody knows who's the subsequent Sean McVay, Shanahan, whatever. But it's still that is the reputation. That is the comprehension. And he proceeded to Philadelphia, which, if it's as hazardous and as poisonous as everyone believes, he would be unintelligent to accomplish that, because he could still remain with Green Bay and Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love, and he could merely remain there, continue to mature, permit his reputation to expand and evolve, and he could undertake a lot more effortless and direct position, either as a head coach, leap as a head coach, or as a coordinator elsewhere, that isn't as, oh, it's so poisonous and intense and uncertain and perplexing in Philadelphia. That would merely be beneficial business then, if that was the circumstance. And yet, a genuine ascending star whose reputation still can absorb a substantial impact in either direction. Let's be sincere here. This isn't like a Ben Johnson ascending star where it's merely like, okay, I can proceed wherever the heck I desire, and if we fail, it's insignificant. I'm Ben Johnson. Like, no, their matters can be propelled in numerous diverse directions. And he's like, I'm proceeding to Philly. Are you kidding me? It's amusing that we don't desire to emphasize or highlight that facet of it. It's peculiar. Peculiar. But we desire to employ other coaches as a reference point who have either accomplished nothing to possess more significance or have objectively failed as a more powerful reference point because it suits our narrative. You must be cautious regarding that. You must be cautious. Each occasion you attain a conclusion, one of your automatic reflections should be, why is this incorrect? What's the counter to this? Each occasion I discover a perspective that resonates my own. Or if I employ a clip, correct, where I'm like, observe, this is what Greg Cosell declares. And to validate my point, my immediate reflection is, I wonder who, though, disputes this and why I don't concur with those individuals who dispute. It's complicated. It's difficult. And you must select a side eventually, but we don't question that sufficiently. But those are merely my reflections. I would absolutely adore to hear yours. What do you all contemplate regarding the Philadelphia Eagles? The difficulty they encounter with recruiting coaches and coordinators, and Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio is undecided on retirement, likely to return as the Eagles' defensive coordinator. Inform me of your reflections. I read each and every comment, whether you concur with me or dispute with me. Either way, let's engage in some discussions. Let's engage in some debates, but ultimately, let's merely derive some enjoyment. And please do contemplate subscribing. We are constructing an amazing community here and absolutely adore to observe you part of it. I desire to construct something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we are genuinely enthusiastic to be part of. I believe we are well on our path to accomplishing it. Please don't neglect to award this video a thumbs up. This genuinely assists the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so profoundly. I will see you next time.